Are you ready? Stand by.
One, two, three,
Come on, Nikki, have that
4, 5, 6. Positions are key on this stage, and you have to hit them just right and be stable when you're hitting those points. And that's why I dropped one over here, because I was still moving through that position as I was coming into the other target. Trying to be aggressive and not separating the shooting and the moving. So you can shoot this stage 50 different ways. You can shoot everything from there. You can shoot these from that side. When you come to practice, do you set up so I can do it the easiest way, or do you set up so I can practice on the things that I want to practice? So I can shoot this from one position if I stick my body through the whole thing and shoot it all. But what would that do for me? You got to think about that kind of stuff. What am I trying to do? Am I just trying to make up the time? I don't have to worry about technique or skill or whatever. I could just try to beat the time.
Right.
And it doesn't matter how I go about it. But if you're trying to develop yourself and develop your skill set or get better, you're going to have to be honest with what you're doing and try to set up things that are outside of your means so you can get the result that you're looking for. When you're doing your walkthroughs, be honest with yourself. You see a lot of people just going through the motions of and then they get in the stage and they're taking forever trying to shoot that one shot because they can't get in the exact position. But in their walkthrough, they just went bam, I'm good. Do you understand? If you want to be a grandmaster, you need to be able to empower yourself to shoot these stages. So now the ball is in your court as far as, do you want to get better? That's what it's going to take. Then what do you want to give up to do it? You have to give up your time, you have to give up your effort, you have to give up, when I don't want to do dry fire, I have to do it. You want to put yourself in the best mood to shoot and have confidence in what you're doing. All right, let's see it. Feel like you're ready? Where was your focus? Well, your focus was on those hard positions, right?
Yeah.
When you're shooting, you have to focus on the task at hand and what's in that moment. So if I'm in a position and I'm shooting that target back there, I can't be thinking about my feet. I got to be thinking about lining up my sights and pulling the trigger properly, because that's a harder target. So it's more important that I have proper trigger control on that one than it is on this one. So up here you had A's, but in the back you had Charlie Delta, right? Shooter ready. Stand by. You hit your positions a lot better, and you didn't take extra shots, and your time was about the same as the last one, because you're taking so much time in the setups. That's what took up the time of you shooting faster and getting the penalty earlier. That way is more controlled and easier to duplicate. So I can shoot that every time if I wanted to, right? It seemed less harder for you to shoot it that way, correct? Like the first run you were pushing and moving fast and all that, but you had a penalty, right?
Yeah.
So working within those parameters, right? All right, who's up? Shooter ready. Stand by. You didn't miss the head. You got 3 shots in it.
Do I have 3 shots on it?
Yeah. That piece of tape just folded in on itself.
Damn it.
If your sights are on target and you pull the trigger the proper way without moving those sights, it's gonna be there.
Right.
It was just a learning moment where you took an extra shot because you didn't see the hole in the target.
Right. Right.
Watching your sights and calling your shots is the fastest way to shoot. Using that, right? Instead of waiting to listen and hear or see if the hits are hitting the target. You're doing this.
Right.
And you're pushing this out to get you more viewing area, more on target. Right? You're putting this out further, and then you're using it to create a stable position out of that. Right? Let's say I have this and I have to shoot around each side. If I shoot around the right side, I'm going to switch my legs out, right? And then if I have to switch to the right side, you see what I'm doing?
Right.
Because I can get that weight. That'll net you better hits on target because you're more stable, more consistent. Right. So a regular bill drill is at 7 yards. Then we have one at 15, and then we have a target at 25, right? So the point of this is the fastest you can shoot and still control the gun. The ability of the gun to shoot flat is going to come into consideration, your grip, your stance. You cannot consciously make adjustments, right?
Right.
You should be shooting this in about a 150, 160, somewhere around there.
Right there.
169.
All right, I'm ready.
And then over here, you get to more where you're focused more on the trigger control and the timing than the speed, right? Further on, you change the different focus points of what you're doing. Immediate targets, the close range targets, and then the, farther targets. You have to focus on those, your techniques that will allow you to shoot good from the get-go instead of make adjustments as you go.
Right.
So you have to be prepared for the shots before you make them.
Right. You know, we talk a lot about the fundamentals and practicing them, and you put them to the test. You find these little things. Well, maybe I'm not doing it as well as I thought I was. For the bill drill, for me, it was almost highlighting. It was like, there is something wrong with the grip. Now, it's kind of up to you to figure that out, because like you said, I would say, I think maybe it might be my grip, and you're like, well, I would be the last person to be able to tell you. It's going to be yourself.
That you have to self-diagnose what you got going on. I can't crawl in your head and say, hey, you're not seeing this.
Right.
It has to be you that's saying, okay, I didn't see this, or I didn't the dot's not tracking properly.
Right.
Now, one of the things for you shoot mainly open. Shooting open, the gun does most of the work. You're shooting fast and you're relying on the gun to stay on target.
Right.
With the open gun, the compensator keeps it flat. It showed in that drill because the shots were going here and, not consistent. They were climbing up, and you had one that would go to the left and one that would go to the right. So that's all in the consistency of your fundamentals, your stance and your grip. That stuff never goes away.